guys, this is Cartoonz, and lately I've been getting a lot of requests to put out all my macros. So this is going to be an in-depth guide on how to use Frost Mage PvP macros and such. And I have about 9 macros that I use on a primary basis, and I'm going to go ahead and share all of them with you. So let's go ahead and start with the Ring of Frost macro. The Ring of Frost macro is back in 4.2. Patch 4.2, they made it so Deep Freeze and Ring of Frost shared DR, which basically means if you Deep Freeze someone and then you put a Ring of Frost over it, the Ring of Frost duration will only be half. Now, what they didn't do is they didn't change it so Frost Nova and Counterspell and Ring of Frost shares the same DR. They don't share the same DR. So basically, you can still do a Frost Nova Counterspell and then put a Ring of Frost over them, and you will get the full duration. Now, what's difficult about this is Frost Nova on one bind, Counterspell and Ring of Frost are on 2 different binds. That's 3 buttons that you have to hit in less than a second. Now, this macro makes it so you only need 2 buttons to hit. Basically, that's all you gotta do. I'm gonna go ahead and show you on this training dummy here. Is Frost Nova. I'm gonna put my pet Frost Nova, and then I'll hit D, which counterspells and already pulls up my Ring of Frost button, and then it instantly I just put in place, and there it goes. Full Ring of Frost on him. It was perfectly timed. I wasn't late. I didn't have to push 3 buttons. If I did, it might have been a little bit cramped, but I only hit 2. And the macro here, all it is slash cast Counterspell and slash cast Ring of Frost. But you have to make sure that Counterspell is in the first spell. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't work if it's the second spell, or the second line. I'm not sure why, but that's just how it works. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead and show you my 3 modifier focus target macros, which involves Polymorph, Deep Freeze, and Counterspell on my focus target. And basically what this macro is, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Polymorph one, is it's slash cast open bracket modifier :shift, comma, space, target equals focus, close bracket, space, polymorph, and then whatever kind of polymorph you have. I have polymorph rabbit on mine. And then the next line is slash cast open bracket nomodifier, :shift, close bracket, space, polymorph. And what this does is basically, because my polymorph is bound to J, which is an abstract bind. I know people don't like it, but for some reason I've always been used to J as my polymorph. But my polymorph target macro, or polymorph, just my regular target, is J. Polymorph focus target with this macro becomes Shift J, because the modifier, if I hold down Shift, I don't have to have it as 2 buttons, I can just put it in 1. And as my target, as you can see, I just hit J, it sheeps him. But see, if I move this chipmunk over here to my focus target, I'm not targeting it, I can hold down Shift J and it polymorphs the target. Now, the only thing to be wary of when using this macro is you can't have Shift, like for example, since I have J and Shift J being used, I cannot have those bound to anything else. Like in your key bindings, you can't have it bound to anything else. That's the only thing about it, and what it does is it kind of simplifies you don't have to have a ton of buttons just laying around, just for like 1 for focus and then 1 for your regular target, or 1 for arena target, whatever. You can basically just use modifiers, and I do the same for Deep Freeze. As you can see, I have this training dummy, here, right here, focus target. I have him frozen. I can Deep Freeze him as focus target, holding Shift 5, and I can hold Shift T and focus target counterspell him. So these are my 3 macros for my modifying for my CCs, which is Counterspell, Deep Freeze, and Polymorph. So next we have the Remove Curse Mouseover macro. Basically, what this macro does is you can have your cursor mouse over somebody, such as myself or my pet, and you can basically just hit this button and it'll decurse whoever's, you know, you're mousing over with. And what this does is it's much quicker than having to actually target something and then hit the button. You can just mouse them over. You kind of like cut out that area of time where you have to click on something, then you have to hit your bind. It actually just makes it so you just mouse it over really quick, and it's really like there's a high skill cap on mouse over macros. Like you can just be like hit it once and then just move on. Like you don't even have to like click something, you know, decurse it, then click on your other target and then get back to work. You know, it cuts out that time. And basically you can remove curses from probably a Shaman's Hex to a Warlock's Curse of Exhaustion or Curse of Tongues, or even his Curse of Agony if you need to peel some damage. But this is a quick macro, and it just cuts out some time, makes you faster, what have you. So next we have the Icy Veins offensive cooldowns macro. And basically, it's a really simple macro. All you gotta do is slash cast Icy Veins and then slash use 13 on the next line. Slash use 13 means you use your 13th slot, which is this trinket right here. This slot is, you'll never have to replace the item name. All you gotta do is slash use 13 and keep your unused trinket in this slot right here. And that'll make it so you always use that. And all it does is it hits both of your Icy Veins and your trinket at the same time, so it's only one button instead of two. And all you gotta do is use it, and then as you can see I use a shatter combo. Boom, crits everywhere. Easy stuff. Moving on, we have the Fire Blast Modifier macro, which isn't really in the CC. I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It's actually more of an offensive macro. Basically what this does is it's the same as the modifier macro that I explained earlier, but with the talent Impact, which gives your spells a 10% chance to give you a 2-second stun on your next Fire Blast. Basically, it makes it so you can focus target Fire Blast to your target. Like, obviously, see, focus target on Fire Blast on this training dummy. But also I put in there use Cataclysmic Gladiator's Silk Handguards, which if you have engineering you should have the Tazik Shocker, I think it's called. And it also, instead of having to hit that button, you can also just put this in one button and it'll use those gloves. And basically it'll just hit your Tazik Shocker and your Fire Blast on the target. And last but definitely not least, we have the Ice Block macro. I've already made a video on this macro, which most of you have already seen. But this macro, it actually makes your Ice Block register faster. To get out of your Ice Block, it registers faster, basically. And all it is slash stop casting is first, slash cancelaura space ice space block is second, and slash cast Ice Block is third, with show tooltip at the beginning, obviously. Basically what this does is normally if I'm just gonna click this just for an example, but I'm gonna spam click this, and obviously as you can tell it takes a second to get out. It takes like actually about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds to get out of the Ice Block if you spam the button. And this macro, what it actually does is it makes it register faster, so you can actually, for example, you can get out of the Ice Block much faster if you just needed to get like a row of dots off or whatever. You needed to Ice Block a Death Coil incoming, you needed to Ice Block like anything really, Ice Block an opener or something, whatever. And all you have to do is with this macro it makes it much faster. Like watch, I can jump in the air and be out of it before I hit the ground. See, it's much faster, much better. And the only thing to be wary of with this macro though is, I mean, when you hit it twice, you're gonna fall out. Like, you have to be able to train your brain well enough to hit it only once. Like, most people will do this. They'll, like, cast, what's an example that I could use? They'll do, like, a Ring of Frost. Yeah, I can use Ring of Frost. I'm just gonna make a macro really quick, and it's /cast, and they put an exclamation point, Ring of Frost. And what this does is it makes it so, here, I'll put it right here, and it makes it so you can spam your button and the targeting circle or whatever won't go away, and it works the same way with Ice Block. You can spam the button and you won't get out of the Ice Block. But I don't know, I feel like you need to have the discipline in your mind to only hit the button once, because if you're hitting the button more than one time, you're wasting your time hitting that button. You're making an error per se. Like that's like a mental error that you have to correct. You have to be able to train your brain to be able to, you know, just hit the button once and put it on, no problem. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on an in-depth Mage PvP macro guide, and all I'm asking for in return for this video is that you like it, and possibly be subscribed to my channel, because I do a ton of these tutorials and just a bunch of fun videos, whatever. I work really hard on them. And also, if you want to, you can leave a comment down below asking for a tutorial, because I want to do kind of like a you asked for this tutorial, and I will do my best to get it out. So also, all you got to do is click in the middle there, and you can be subscribed to my channel to see those tutorials coming out, as well as montages I'll be doing, fun videos, whatever. And I'll see you guys next time. Cartoonz out.